He shall give you the desires of your heart. And here's an interesting thing about that. How do you even know what the desires of your heart are if you don't even know enough? So I say this like this. Suppose you were in prison your whole life. You were born in prison and you only knew the cells and you only knew to get up at 8 o'clock or 6 o'clock in the morning, do your exercise, get your food, and that's all you knew every day of your life. What would be the desire of your heart? You didn't even know there was a world out there. You thought this was your entire world. You knew nothing. Nothing at all. You've never seen the outside world. The whole world you have ever experienced was inside that prison cell. What would be your heart's desire? Maybe to get a little extra sleep, maybe better food, an extra dessert. Really, think about what would be your heart's desire in that. So here we are living in the Luciferian matrix. What's our heart's desire? If I asked so many of you what your heart desired, a lot would say to have more money so I can just buy whatever I want, pay my bills. That's the Luciferian matrix. We really don't remember divinity. Divinity, heaven, anything. My heart's desire is to find the Christ light in full effect, all of it, full power, right? Because that knows everything. But for so many people, think about what their heart's desires are. Somebody might say, oh, so I don't have this pain anymore, or I don't have this dis-ease. Are you kidding me? That's a nice thing, but wouldn't you rather the Christ light so you never ever have any more? That's just going to get you through that one. So anyway, he shall give you the dreams of your heart's desire. So let's go to Psalms 37:4. And 34 says, delight thyself also in the Lord, and he shall give thee the heart's desires. It's right there, right? It's right there. Commit thy way unto the Lord. Trust also in him, and he shall bring it to pass. And he shall bring forth thy righteousness as the light, and thy judgment as noonday. Rest in the Lord, and wait patiently for him. Fret not thyself because of him who prospereth his way, because of man who bringeth with wicked devices to pass. Cease from anger and forsake wrath. Fret not thyself in any wise to do evil, for evildoers shall be cut off. This has a lot to do with now. Evildoers shall be cut off, but those that wait upon the Lord, they shall inherit the earth. For yet a little while, and the wicked shall not be. Yea, thou shalt diligently consider his place, and it shall not be. But the meek shall inherit the earth, and shall delight themselves in the abundance of peace. So the first thing is delight thyself. Whatever your heart's dream is, that's it. But it also says here, in order to do that, in order to get your heart's desire, what do you have to do? What does it say right there? Commit the way unto the Lord. Trust also in him, and he shall bring it to pass. So here's your life, your heart's dreams, desire. But what do you have to do? Commit thy way unto the Lord. Trust also in him, and he shall bring it to pass. What does connect mean? What does commit mean? Commit means to obey, right? God's promises are all granted if you do two things. One is obey. All the promises we have read. If you stand in divine righteousness, if you follow the law, if you do this, if you do this, if you do this, if you do this, they're all to obey. So I want to ask you something, and you're going to be shocked where this is going, so hang in there. Do you obey God because it's something you have to do? Because what's the outcome if I don't? Hell on earth, right? I'll be in hell. Or because you love Yeshua, you love the Christ light with all your heart. Really I don't want to know. Be honest with yourself. Why do you really do it? Do you celebrate how much you love Christ light, Jesus, the Lord, God? Do you celebrate that? Or are you following the law because if I don't, I'm going to burn in the pits of hell? And ask this. Why does the word obey, especially ladies here, why does the word obey bother you so much? Because of being told what to do. You got to obey somebody, right? How many of you ladies cannot stand love, honor, and obey? How many of you does that kind of piss you off? Freaking, I'm not going to obey that in anybody, right? Isn't that what ladies do when they hear that? So let me tell you a little interesting thing about the word obey. If God gives you 100% free will, so you can choose anything, you can choose darkness, you can choose light. If you have 100% free will, why would he demand you to do anything? Think about that. Why would you be demanded to do anything? Does that really sound like Yeshua demanding you? I went back and I said, let me look up the word obey. And between 842 and the 1400s was when the word obey was added to the English language. It comes from the French. To be subject, to serve, to comply with, follow the order, command, restrictions. Does God restrict you? Christ-light's only expansiveness. So, but then I got to think, wait a minute. But if it only came in the 842, how could Jesus say it? Right? So then I did some more. And when you're restriction, you have no free will. So the definition in the Webster Dictionary does not align with God's free will. But in the Hebrew, the word is shama. And there really isn't a one-word English translation for shama. Just like obey is not in the Hebrew language in a one-word translation. So what shama in Hebrew means, it translates as to hear and respond appropriately. Doesn't that align with the Christ light? It never means to let someone cross your dominion. It means to hear what they're saying, to hear what's going on. I hear it, not to listen, to hear it, to bring it into you and respond appropriately. All that aligns with the divine. It gives a whole new meaning to honor your spouse and obey. You'll honor them, right? You'll absolutely honor what they're saying because they have the right to actually have their own opinion. So you honor it, but then you hear what they're saying, and then you respond appropriately. Is raging, saying you're an effing idiot appropriately? No. Is screaming at them, I'm not doing that appropriate? No. You respond appropriately in the Christ light, not as a slave who's forced to obey the king or anything else. You're not a slave. God does not desire for you to be a slave. It's 1,000 times in there, talking about you're bonded to get out, Leviticus, get free from being a slave. Indentured servants, God's desire for you is love, bliss, and freedom, to be one with the Christ light, the Holy Spirit. So when God tells you to obey, God is saying, hear what I'm saying. Get it into that 3D noggin that I gave you. Get it into the brain that the good Lord gave you. Hear it. Truly comprehend it. And then respond appropriately. So the other night, this was me, had the magnifying glass because it's like a 3 font, it's so tiny, and I'm trying to read it, and everything's in parables. And I finally said, why don't you ever just say what you mean? Why do we need all these parables? And In order to break free of the matrix, we need the knowledge of God. We need the knowledge of the Supreme Creator, the creation knowledge, the structure. So Yeshua told me, mankind is of such small faith and very little knowledge of God. We live under the rule of Satan. Therefore, we need to know the knowledge of God. Isaiah 9. And he said, go and tell this people, hear ye indeed, but understand not, and see ye indeed, but perceive not. Make the heart of the people fat, and make their ears heavy, and shut their eyes, lest they see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and understand with their heart, and convert and be healed. Isaiah 9. So what he's saying is, with your eyes are closed. You can't see anything. And with your ears, you're not hearing anything. You will hear with your ears, but not comprehend it. Make the heart of the people fat, and make their ears heavy. Your ears can't hear anymore. And shut their eyes, lest they see with their eyes. You're sound asleep. So your eyes are closed, and you're asleep. Isaiah 10. Make the heart of his people fat, and make their ears heavy, and shut their eyes, lest they see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and understand with their heart, and convert and be healed. If you do not see with your eyes, you're going to be stuck. If you don't hear, you'll be stuck. So what's he saying here? Begin to see with your eyes. Wake up. Hear with your ears. Understand the knowledge of God, the knowledge of good, and convert from being stuck in the Luciferian matrix to going into the divine matrix, which is what's going on in the world today. Convert and be healed. Once you're healed, you're in the divine Christ light. If you cannot comprehend, if you cannot understand with your mind and comprehend the real truth of creation, you have no knowledge. So back to the question to Yeshua, why in parables? And this is what he said. What better way for a man to obtain knowledge than to think? To obtain knowledge of God than to think. Parables, man needs help and knowledge of God. Therefore, parables. Parables help you, make you think. You cannot read one of these and just blast it out without thinking about it. You just can't. Doesn't make sense. You really got lest thou he's whose hops. Come on. Make the heart of his people fat. You really got to think about these things. And when you think about it, you're actually in the Word. You're in the Word. It's like fixing those brakes. You're doing it. You're not going to forget it. So how can you obey? To hear and respond appropriately if you don't have the knowledge of God. How can you absolutely obey God? How can you hear and appropriately respond appropriately if you have no knowledge of Christ-like, if you have no knowledge of God? You're going to hear and respond in what you were taught in the Luciferian matrix. That little baby that was raised in prison is going to hear and respond in what they were taught. Prison language, right? Doesn't know anything else. Never was shown a Bible, never heard about Jesus, doesn't even know what the outside world looks like. Goes from the prison to the cafeteria to the gym, back to the prison, back to the cafeteria, maybe to the library, maybe to the laundry, but doesn't know anything else. So what's their heart's desires? Do you see what we've been stuck on? Do you see what they're trying to do? Jesus is like, get out of, we're under the Luciferian matrix. Get out, get out, get out. But how do you get out of Luciferian matrix, out of evil, if you don't have the knowledge of God or goodness? So going back to the original question, Do you, now, going back to the original question, remember your answer to this. Don't lie to yourself unless you choose to. This is all about you. This is all about you and what you choose to do. So the original question, do you obey God because it's something you have to do because of the consequences if you don't? Or because you love and celebrate Yeshua, God, with all your heart? I would say quite a few of us did it because we were frightened of the consequences, right? I don't go to hell. Yes, master, whatever you tell me to do, I'll do. But now, hearing it this way, I obey God and I respond appropriately. Wouldn't you celebrate that? Now, can you see how you can have joy and how you see how religion has twisted all of this so we don't really like what we have to do? Do you see it all? So now you can love and celebrate this. You can truly love and celebrate the fact that you are one, that you are the Christ light. And if now you see it and you're celebrating it, so how do we have knowledge? Now, because of the celebration of it, now you can search for knowledge. Now you can try celebrating Jesus with all your heart. Hear him and respond appropriately. How cool is this? Now we're going to Luke chapter 5. And it came to pass that as the people pressed upon him to hear the word of God, he stood by the lake of Gennesaret, which everybody, if you don't know, that's the Sea of Galilee. And he saw this is Jesus, and saw two ships standing by the lake, but the fishermen were gone out of them. The fishermen already finished fishing, and they were washing their nets, because you got to wash them right away, because all that gook gets stuck on it and your nets are worthless, right? And Jesus entered into one of the ships, which was Simon's. That Simon is Simon Peter, and prayed him. And he would thrust out a little from the land. He asked him, would you go out a little from the land? And he sat down and taught the people out of the ship. Because there were so many people on the shore that nobody could see Jesus, and it was too big. So he went to Simon Peter, and he said, let's go, and they were cleaning their nets. They just came back, and he goes, would you go out and let me go out? So like he's making a stage so everybody can see me. And now when he had left speaking, he said unto Simon, launch out into the deep and let down your nets for a drought. A drought is a pull. That's why they call it's a draft. A draft is a pull. That's why they call the Clydesman draft horses, because they pull. So a drought is a pull for fishermen. So now when he left speaking, he said unto Simon, launch out into the deep and let down your nets for a drought. This is Peter's response. And Simon Peter answering said unto him, Master, we have toiled all through the night and have taken nothing. Nevertheless, at thy word, I will let down the net. And when they had done this, they enclosed a great multitude of fishes, and their net broke. The net broke. And they beckoned unto their partners, which were in the other ship, that they should come and help them. And they came and they filled both ships, so that they both began to sink. When Simon Peter saw it, he fell down at Jesus' knees, saying, depart from me, for I am a sinful man, O Lord. For he was astonished, and all that were with him, at the draught of the fishes which he had taken. And so was also James, John, and the son of Zebedee, which were partners with Simon. And Jesus said unto Simon, fear not, from henceforth thou catch men. Thou shalt catch men. And when they brought their ships to the land, they forsook all and followed him. So Here's the thing. So many things come by us that we hear are so little. Think about this. This was insignificant in his mind, in Peter's mind. He could have said, I don't need to, it's okay. I don't want to go out. He could have said any of that. In order to hear, you got to hear all the little things. And so many times we hear things. How many of you have had a choice to make, A or B? Instantly, that quickening was pick B, and you thought about it. Or you had outside forces, friends going, oh, that's stupid. That'll never do this instead. And you did A. And it came out horrific. And you found out B was the right way to go. And you wanted to kick yourself all the way home. Like, ugh, why didn't I just listen? I knew better. I knew it. Because that was such an insignificant thing to us. But God doesn't give us anything insignificant. It's not a big deal. When we have massive trouble in our lives, oh, yes, indeed, right? What do? We go and we sit down and we get on our knees, we pray, we beg, we plead, we do everything. And we listen, we meditate, we hear, and and God gets us out of trouble. And we're like, thank you, Jesus, praise you, Jesus. We're so grateful, everything. But we never are grateful for the little things because we don't listen. We only go to hear when we're in trouble. How can we respond appropriately when we don't even hear it? Because we're too busy with our daily lives. God will never, ever give you something insignificant. Never. He won't mislead you either. God, he, Mother, Father, God, will not mislead you. The Christ light will never mislead you. It can't. It can't lie. It can't. It will never tell you anything that's not in for your greatest and highest good. But it's really important to hear everything God tells you. And a lot of you go, well, I can't hear it. Yes, you do. Because so many of you had heard choice B. It goes like this. It's a flash. And you thought about it. You let outside influences. You thought, what's the big deal? And you did A. Even things that you think are insignificant in your life, little things. If we ignore those insignificant things, or what you think is insignificant, because nothing's insignificant, nothing is insignificant. Nothing God says is insignificant. If we ignore those things, we can't respond appropriately. We can't obey God. Let's go back to chapter 5. So Jesus basically said, can I use your ship? Can I take your ship? We need to go out to the people and so I can see anything. And what would have happened if Peter thought that was an insignificant request? Jesus would have used someone else's ship, right? Would have found a way of doing it. Think about that. I want to borrow your boat so I can teach all these people. If Peter didn't go and do that, and Peter was like, would say, I got to take care of all these nets. How many times do we do this? I got so much to do today, right? So where's your mind on taking care of the important things? So if Peter went, Simon Peter went, I got to clean my nets. You know what? Jeremiah over there will take you. His nets are all clean. What would have happened to Peter? Think about that. He would have never caught all those fish. He would have never left everything he knew and followed Jesus. Think about this for a minute. What changed in his life? Peter was the one that ran to the tomb and saw that Jesus rose. Peter was the one that walked on water with Jesus. Got scared, started to fall, Jesus saved him. He got to walk on water. Peter built all the churches. Look at the greatness Peter did. That he would have missed all this amazing stuff he had no clue about. Do you think at that moment Peter's heart desire was to walk on water? He didn't even know it was possible. Do you think at that moment Peter's heart's desire would have been to watch the crucifixion and be part of it? Do you think at that moment Peter's heart's desire would have been to build all the churches for mankind? Look at how his life changed. He went from fishing in the ocean to catch little fishies in the disgusting smelly nets to being a fisherman of man, to bring man into divine Christ-light. Would you say that's a big change in your life? Would you say he got more than his heart's desire? He wouldn't even know. Would you say he ever regretted it? But it's okay. He fell from it. Remember, Peter was the one who, when they were taking, after Jesus at the Last Supper, or in the garden, he said something. I don't remember the exact passage, but he was the one that Jesus said to him, "You will deny me twice. You will deny me three. When the crow cocks twice. When the cock crows twice, you will deny me 3 times." And he did. But look at, he slipped. Why was he so afraid? Because they were crucifying Jesus. He didn't have the knowledge of what was going on. He didn't have the knowledge that this was a big plan. They're going to put him up on a cross so he can show us that he beats death. He didn't comprehend it. He didn't hear it, so he couldn't act appropriately. He didn't have the faith. He didn't have the belief that Yeshua was going to take care of him and that no harm would come to him. So when they asked him, "You know that?" "No, not me. I don't know anything about that." He denied him. If he was in faith and he truly believed, would he have denied him? Nope. But he didn't. And he had the opportunity to walk on water. He had the opportunity to have thousands and thousands of fish fill his boat so it was sinking. He had the opportunity to see it all firsthand. And he still didn't have faith. But he came back. And look at what he'd done. Look at what he did. Changed the world. So have faith, and know that nothing is insignificant. Hear those things and act appropriately. And when you hear and act appropriately in small matters, your life changes big time. Somebody comes up to you and asks you, "Listen, I want to do this great thing. Could you just give me a hand and move your boat out a little bit?" Somebody you don't even know. And all he did was he heard and he acted appropriately. He said, "Okay, is that a loving thing to do? Okay. I'll take care of my nets later. It's all right. I'll do it for you." Look at what happened to his life. Look what happened to his life. So let's go back. Let me get my back up. One of the promises that falls into this, remember this? God promises us the meek shall inherit the earth. And everybody thinks our definition of meek is, right? Mousy. Let me tell you what the definition of meek is. Mild of temper, soft, gentle, not easily provoked or irritated, yielding, given to forbearance under injuries. Is that, would you say that is responding appropriately? Somebody comes at you, blasting you. Mild of temper, soft and gentle, not easily provoked because you can't touch me. I'm not irritated. I'm yielding. I'm honoring their rant, right? Given to forbearance under injury. I honor you. I hear you. Having a good friend is like being married. You honor and obey. You honor what they're saying. You hear them. And you get into the meekness of God. And you respond appropriately. And the promise is the meek shall inherit the earth. The entire thing is ours, proving we are the heirs. How many times? If you go to the last 3 weeks, all I talked about is being the heirs. We're the children of God. We're the heirs. It says it right in the Bible. So I don't need to know the answers. How many of you, just answer for yourself, how many of you have been so blessed by God, so blessed, you couldn't handle it, you thought you were going to explode? You just couldn't handle it anymore. That's what the divine wants for you. That's what all these promises of God is about. And how many times? Once, twice, 5 times? What if it was every day? That's what the divine is about. Every day. You could be so celebrating, so overwhelmed with bliss, you can't handle it. That's a good place to be. So if you learn the lesson, if you truly learn the lesson of obeying God, your life will be phenomenally blown away, blissed with all the greatness of the divine. Heart's desires on steroids. You don't even know what that will be. And your life will never be the same. If you don't have money, if you can't pay your bills, if you're struggling with health, if you've got any of this kind of stuff going on, it's because you're not listening. You're not obeying. You're not obeying. You didn't hear a blessed thing God tried to tell you. Just like when you were a little kid. What did your father say? Don't put your hand on the stove, you're going to get burnt. You wanted to find out, right? So you put your hand on the stove and son of a gun, your father was right, you're all burnt, now you're crying. That didn't turn out good. You heard, well, actually you listened, but you didn't hear, and you didn't act appropriately. You did what you wanted. We all do stupid, especially, and I'm going to bring this into a little thing, and this is for men also, but in this world, it is the feminine energy. Men have just as much feminine energy as women, and women should have just as much male energy as men. You should be in balance. God wants everything in balance. That is not duality. Men and women is not duality. That's a falsehood which they taught you. It is darkness and light is the duality, okay? But it is the feminine energy that has been so brainwashed that they are worthless and they have to obey man and obey man. Men are everything. That they now turn into what? I don't want to hear any of this shit. I don't want to hear this shit. I'm going to do what I want to do. Come on, ladies. It's how you made it in this world, half of you. Some of you didn't. If you're from New York, that's usually your attitude. If you wanted to make it into the business world, that was your attitude. But what did they do? The feminine aspect is the aspect that creates. It must hear the word of the divine. If it can't hear the word of the divine, it can't create, which means the male aspect is going to move forward, because the feminine is the creation aspect and the male aspect is the driving force. So now, if you can't create, you're driving force stupidity. You're driving forward the Luciferian matrix because you're rebelling against the very thing that you are, divine. See what they did? See the little tweaks they made that screwed up the whole world? And knowing this now, how can you judge your brothers and sisters? You can't. My gosh, look at how messed up. They're so trapped. They never got out of the prison. They were born in that little cell. They were raised in that little cell. They went to breakfast and lunch in the cafeteria of the prison, and they came home in the and back into the cell. How can they have a desire for anything else? Well, ladies and gentlemen, and ladies, that's how we were raised. We're in the matrix of the Luciferian matrix energy. But I'm telling you, if you begin to listen to the little things, and God will give you the little things very fast, comes by like this, because it's your divine essence translating, it's fast. But remember, it's okay. Don't beat yourself up, because what did Peter say? Peter said to Jesus, I don't care if anybody else denies you. I will always, 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 always. I never will deny you. I will always be there. And what was Jesus' answer? I'll tell you the truth. By the time the cock crows by the time the cock crows twice, you will deny me 3 times. He had no faith. He was afraid that he would die. So being afraid of dying brought him back into the law of death. See how that works out? The 2 laws, Romans 8. Remember the 2 laws, life and death, life and death. Yeshua came here to do this, to show us how to do it, to how to get free, to have free dominion. That's what freedom is, to have freedom. It was God's plan. Peter didn't know that. Peter just didn't know all this, and he had the opportunity for all of this. So how crazy is this? So let's go back to the other thing. Remember, truly, truly remember. Look at that story, read it again. Read the whole Bible, go through it. What are all the gifts of Peter? Look at how his life changed. Just by one, what we would think, insignificant gesture. Nothing is insignificant in the world of the divine. Insignificant comes when you're in the matrix, the Luciferian matrix. Peter might have been a loser, might have grown up the biggest loser ever, because he would have been locked in that prison of the Luciferian matrix. But he was anything but, right? So let's go back to, so the way of receiving these promises is by obeying. Every promise says, if you stand in righteousness, if you obey, if you hear and respond appropriately. So let's go back to Psalms 37. He shall give you the desires of thine heart. What did he say? Commit, there's your obey. Commit the way unto the Lord. Trust also in him, and he shall bring it to pass. What he's saying there is, if you trust, if you hear and act appropriately in meekness, he'll make all this happen for you. And he shall bring forth thy righteousness as the light, and thy judgment as the noonday. So if you do this, all of this, the light of righteousness is yours. And now if you have the light of righteousness, which is the Christ light, you have everything. You inherit the earth. Big promise. You're promised everything you can imagine. You inherit it all. Rest in the Lord and wait patiently. That's part 2. What time we got? We're still good. Wait patiently for him. Patiently. That's number 2 of accepting the promises. Be patient. Wait patiently. Wait. Rest in the Lord. Rest in the Christ light, knowing everything's going to be okay. And wait patiently for him. Fret not thyself because of him who prospereth in his way. Don't sit there and go, oh my God, they're all making money and I'm not. And look at them. They're moving forward in their career and I'm just sitting here. I pray every day and I hear nothing. I get nothing. Oh my gosh. Right? You've never said anything like that in your life, right? Never. No, not you. So, fret not thyself because him who prospereth in his way, because of the man who bringeth wicked devices to pass. What he's saying here is, don't be upset if somebody else is going forward. Those are the wicked ones. They're moving forward in the Luciferian matrix. Yo, Baba, do you want to move forward in the Luciferian matrix? I sure don't. It's okay. Go run. Go chase your money. Go chase the carnal things. Go chase the flesh. Go chase all of that. I'll just sit here and twiddle my thumbs patiently and wait for the next thing I have to hear from the divine. We're still in Psalms 37. Cease from anger and forsake wrath. Fret not thyself in any wise to do evil. So what does that mean? Cease from anger. What happens when you get angry? Let's all face it. When we get angry, we do what? Stupid things. And what are those stupid things? They're not things of divinity. They're things of Luciferian. You're going to get even. You're going to do whatever it takes. Right? We all get angry. Been there, done that, moved on. And if you say you didn't, you're only lying to yourself. Because everybody has gotten angry at one time. Whether you expressed it or not, you've gotten angry. Cease from anger. What's he trying to say? That goes back to what? The meek. What are the meek? Those are the ones that respond appropriately. For evildoers, now this is what's coming to pass. This is why this is so important. For evildoers shall be cut off, but those that wait upon the Lord, they shall inherit the earth. And who's the ones that wait? The ones that are meek. Because what did it say earlier? The meek shall inherit the earth. And what's the definition of meek? Mild of temper, soft, gentle, not easily provoked, yielding, not irritated. For evildoers shall be cut off, but those that wait upon the Lord, they shall inherit the earth. For a little while, and the wicked shall not be. Yea, thou shalt diligently consider his place, and it shall not be. But the meek shall inherit the earth, and shall delight themselves in the abundance of peace, of the Christ light, in the abundance of heaven. Wait patiently. And waiting patiently does not mean judging everybody around you. You can judge their acts, but you cannot judge. You can judge their deeds. You cannot judge them. Lest ye be judged. You want to be judged like that? We've all screwed up. Beaucoup times. So, the rewards of waiting. What are the why? Let's go to what's the rewards of waiting? First, you inherit the earth. You get all these things. But let's go to Isaiah. Let me find the right passage here. Isaiah 40:28. He giveth power to the faint, and to them that have no might he increased strength. Even the youth shall faint and be weary, and the young men shall utterly fall. But they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint. Wings of eagles. The Christ light is going to hold you up. It's going to hold you up. God's going to hold you if you wait upon him. But what happens to so many? God's not answering my prayer. I got to take it and you take it in your own hands to do. And what does your hands and body know? The only thing you were ever raised in, the prison. You were in those four walls. You are in the Luciferian matrix since Adam and Eve took a bite out of the apple. So when you take it into your own hands, what did Romans 8, what did he do? What did Jesus do? He condemned the flesh. He condemned the body. Called it sin. Because this is all the body knows is sin. It's the spirit that is not sin. It's the spirit that is divinity. It's the spirit that's the Christ light. So wait in patience if you wait. But those that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. You're not going to be tired. You're not going to be sick. You'll have all this strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles, right? They shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint. And how many of you always ask me, how do you do 12, 13 days with no sleep? And when we wait, what happens? You discover God's plan. It's that simple. You discover the plan, God's will and purpose for that situation, for whatever it is, for you, for the situation. And what does it say here? He giveth power to the faint. But they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with eagles. You have supernatural strength. They shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint. You will have strength. You will be in the strength of the Lord. You will win all the battles of life because there will be no battles. There is no battles. You know, I am so sick and tired of this bull crap that all the patriots say, we're at war. No, we are not at war. There is no war between us because we are the Christ light, and the Christ light is all powerful. The minute you say you are at war is the minute you're in the Luciferian matrix. And then, and only then, have you dropped yourself down, so you will be at war. You absolutely will be at war because you'll be in the Luciferian matrix. There is no war. It's a choice. It is an absolute choice between light and dark. But those who choose dark will always be in war. So the minute you say we're at war with darkness is the minute you're in the Luciferian matrix, because does God war? No. There's nothing to war about. Do you believe for a second that if the divine wanted to go and pick us all up and throw this little earth plane away, it would be gone? Of course. So let's go to Psalms 37. Let me use these because I got to find which one that is. I believe it's this one. Yep. Psalms 37. 34. Psalms 37, 34. Wait on the Lord and keep his way, and he shall exalt thee to inherit the land. When the wicked are cut off, thou shalt see it. Didn't he just say that 20,000 times ago in the other one? There it is again. Wait on the Lord. Wait on the Lord and keep his way. Do his way. Hear and respond appropriately. For some, that may mean to take care of your families. For others, that may mean to, I don't know, help your neighbors or start a homeless shelter thing. For others, it may mean to do what I'm doing. It doesn't matter. Hear and respond appropriately. Do not rage, do not freak out, do not go crazy, and do not say you're at war. I have seen the wicked in great power and spreading himself like a green bay tree. Just going and moving everywhere, just growing, right? Yet he passed away, and lo, he was not. Yea, I sought him, but he could not be found. Mark the perfect man, and behold the upright, for the end of that man is peace. But the transgressors shall be destroyed together. The end of the wicked shall be cut off. But the salvation of the righteous is of the Lord. He is their strength in time of trouble. And the Lord shall help them and deliver them. He shall deliver them from the wicked and save them because they trust in him. But the minute you doubt, you don't trust. The minute you rage, the minute you judge, you're not being meek. You're not hearing and responding. You're not obeying. You're not hearing and responding appropriately. Come on, let's face it. We all did this. How many of you went, oh my God, look at that idiot in the car all by themselves wearing a mask? Come on, be honest with yourself. How stupid can these people be? We all did it. Unless you were the ones that wore the mask. Then you were looking at the ones who didn't. How arrogant, and you were judging them. They created a war for us, mankind, to fight each other. Every man, every woman is an heir to the throne. Every man and every woman has the Christ light through them. They're your brothers and sisters of God. Look at it this way. The divine creator birthed every one of us. Every one. Okay, so God will cause you to win, no matter what. If you hear and respond appropriately, for some it's doing nothing, for others it's doing something, whatever it is, listen to the plan. And when you wait in patience, the plan is revealed. It's amazing. Keep his way means to obey. Here, where it says, keep his way. Wait on the Lord and keep his way. He shall exalt thee. Keep his way means obey. Hear and respond. Do what he asks you to do, but not because you're told to, because you're celebrating it. And our reward will always be for our greatest and highest good. The answer to our prayer on steroids, because we don't even know what to ask anymore. We ask stupid things. Like Peter. What did Peter know to ask for? In a million years, do you think Peter thought he would be the fisher of men and lead mankind back to God? I'm sure a little fisherman throwing his nets out would never think that. And all he did was say, okay, you can use my boat. So what are the rewards? 1, we discover God's will and purpose by waiting. So being patient, this is what we're doing. Be patient. Wait, be patient. We discover God's will and his purpose. 2, we're waiting for the supernatural. By waiting, you get the supernatural energy. We will win the battles of life. Number 3. Number 4, reward, answer to our prayers. And let's go to Psalms 40. I waited patiently for the Lord. That's a nice thing to do, right? I waited patiently for the Lord, and he inclined unto me and heard my cry. He brought me up also out of the horrible pit, out of the miry clay, and set my feet upon a rock, and established my goings. And he hath put a new song in my mouth, even praise unto our God. Many shall see and fear, and shall trust in the Lord. Now, the word fear, fear is yara. You're asking an Irish, Italian, New Yorker to speak English. We got to speak Hebrew. I think it's pronounced yari. What it means in Hebrew, the word fear, is to look in reverence and awe. So let's read that over. And he hath put a new song in my mouth. He even praise unto our God. Many shall see it and fear, not be afraid, awe and honor and reverence, and shall trust the Lord. That's what we are here. That's our plan. That's our plan. So, if we want things on our schedule, on our timeline, we don't get all these things. If we're going, I don't have time for this, it doesn't work out that well. So, it's not just 4, that's the 5th one. Seeing the fulfillment of our faith. That's number 5. These are the rewards of patience. And what is our failure usually to wait for God? What's our biggest failure to wait for God usually? It's not just within us. What is our biggest failure to wait for God? Anybody? It's usually outside pressure from others. Let's say you were diagnosed, God forbid, with cancer, the big C. You're panicking, but everything in your heart, in your meditation, in your knowing says, I'm going to be okay. God's taking care of this. But your mother's going, oh, you got to do chemo. Your friend, you're going to die if you... All this outside interference. And what do? You go and do it all. And maybe you die. And maybe you die. It could be anything. You have to listen. Everything in your day, start your day grateful in celebration that you can hear and respond appropriately to the Christ light, to Jesus. Let's go party today. What do you want to tell me? Not me begging you. You see how the responsibility shifts here? I had a little book. Did I bring it? One of the things it said was how to pray to God. And it was commanding God, command Jesus to come to me. Oh! How about we shift it and we go to Jesus? In celebration, in excitement, not in we're going to be condemned. What does the Catholic Church say? You're going to burn in hell if you don't listen. Obey or you shall die. That's not what Jesus is about. The Catholic Church now preaches that there is no devil. Really? I guess you know better than Jesus. Going back to this, so number 6. Let's go to Isaiah 64:4 for number 6. For since the beginning of the world, men have not heard nor perceived by the ear, neither hath the eye seen. Well, that's because as soon as they were created, what'd they do? They jumped into the Luciferian matrix, chomp the apple. They lost it. So what's that saying? Since the beginning of the world, men have not heard nor perceived by the ear, neither hath the eye seen. They were in the prison. They can't see or hear. They only know the prison walls. O God, beside thee, what he hath prepared for him that waited for him. Thou meetest him and rejoice and worketh righteousness. Those that remember thee in thy ways, those that search for him, right? Search for the knowledge in thy ways. Behold, thou art wroth, for we have sinned. In those is continuance, and we shall be saved. Because then you know you. How do you know you're sinning if you don't know what divinity is? How do you know that if you're in that prison and they give you arsenic every morning for breakfast, how do you know that's poison? It's the only thing you know. You'll never know it. Nobody told you it was poison. You eat it, and eventually in 10 years you may die or go crazy. But you didn't know any better because you didn't search out. You didn't know to search out. But in each of you is the spark of the Christ light. It searches. It looks. It seeks. That's looking for the truth. Hear and respond appropriately. It's in there going, you need to know the truth. You got to find the knowledge of God. You've been living in the cell. Time to look for the knowledge of God. And it says quite here, but we are as unclean. We have a choice. You can choose darkness or you can choose light. It's your choice. It's all your choice. So God promises you everything. And I'm going to sum it up the easiest way. The entire earth. We're going to do more promises in what's to come. But the entire earth, the meek shall inherit the earth. You just got to hear and respond appropriately. Obey. That's all. And search for the knowledge. So here are the 6 things. Your rewards are waiting. The rewards of waiting is 1, we discover God's wills and purpose. 2, we get supernatural energy. 3, we will win the battle of life. 4, rewards answer to our prayer. 5, seeing the fulfillment of our faith. 6, we will see God working on our behalf. Not bad, huh? Gives a whole new meaning of how they changed everything on us. An entire meaning. So now Psalms 27. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? See, there's a difference between fear and afraid in the Bible. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I awe and honor? The Lord is the strength of my life. Now the question is, of whom should I be afraid? Whom should I be afraid of? Not a soul. Nothing can touch this. Can't touch this. When the wicked, even my enemies and my foes, came upon me to eat up my flesh, they stumbled and fell. Can't touch this. Because if you go to Revelations, what happens? When you hear and obey, when you celebrate in the Christ light, when you are righteous in the Christ light, what happens? You get the seal of God on your forehead. And by the law of the Most High, the law of God, this is a law book. By the law of God, anybody with the seal of God on their forehead is not touchable by Satan. Satan has no right, and if Satan even crosses 1 ounce and goes after the ones with the seal of God on their forehead, he's annihilated. Satan won't touch you for fear of the wrath of God. And Satan does have fear of the wrath of God. Ooh, he's very much afraid because he doesn't have the power as the divine creator. And you have the divine creator within you. You have the power of God, divine love, divine truth. When you are divine love and you stand in divine truth, you wield divine power. You're all powerful because you got the stamp of God. child of the divine. You're an heir to the throne.
Hi, I'm Leana from PowerPassionFreedom.com. If you liked what you heard, why don't you come and join us on Sundays? We do a whole free question and answer period followed by a meditation. Bring all your questions. All you have to do is go to PowerPassionFreedom.com to register for Sunday. Oh, and don't forget to like us and subscribe to us below because we're always adding new meditations and content and you don't want to miss out on it. I'll see you Sunday.